Tonight on NewsWatch, the call for action heads to Capitol Hill. Lawmakers are back in Washington as the administration fights for a strike in Syria. Plus, concerned about their future. Look at why some Egyptian Christians worry about more attacks. And see the plan to rebuild America's poorest city. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. The first Senate vote over a possible strike in Syria is set for this Wednesday. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin. Ahead of that, the White House is mobilizing a political assault to gain support for a strike. With Congress back at work this week, the president will try to change minds on both Capitol Hill and throughout the country. But as John Waggy explains in tonight's top story, he faces a decidedly uphill battle.
As Congress returns from its 5-week recess, polls show anywhere from 60 to 70% of Americans oppose U.S. military action in Syria. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is one of the most vocal opponents in Washington.
Here's the thing is, this administration won't even react when Americans are killed in Benghazi. They've done absolutely nothing. And so here's a situation in Syria that doesn't involve Americans and they want to get involved. To me, they've got it backwards.
President Obama sits down with 6 TV news anchors Monday and then will address the nation in primetime Tuesday to boost support in Congress for an attack on Assad's chemical weapons. Secretary of State John Kerry was in London, where Parliament has already said a resounding no to British military involvement.
It would be good to hear people saying to a dictator, keep your hands off chemical weapons that kill your own people.
But opponents on both the left and right are mobilizing against the administration. This ad is from the hard left group MoveOn.org.
Don't lead us down this road again.
Some conservatives would like to punish allies of Assad in non-military ways.
Number one, there are reports that Iraq is allowing Iran to fly over and resupply Assad. I would right now cut off Iraq's $500 million in aid unless they cut off air rights.
In an interview with Charlie Rose on CBS, Assad says there is no evidence he used chemical weapons, and he threatened the U.S. if it acts. Nobody expected the 11th of September, he said, so you cannot expect. It is difficult for anyone to tell you what is going to happen. It's an area where everything is on the brink of explosion. You have to expect everything. Western aid workers trying to feed Syria's 2 million refugees say the situation in and beyond Damascus is getting desperate.
It's getting to a point where if the international community doesn't wake up and realize that they must make efforts to find a political solution, otherwise we're not going to be able to sustain this level of response.
But in more than 30 months, the international community has tried and failed to broker a political solution. Now it appears the Obama administration will go to the mat for some kind of effort at a military answer. John Waggy, CBN News.
Secretary of State Kerry said today that Syria could avoid a U.S. strike if it turned its chemical weapons over to the international community within a week. Russia made an official proposal along those lines, one that the Syrian government seemed interested in. But the State Department says it's skeptical the Assad regime would actually go through with the plan. And how the situation in Syria is playing out in Washington. We're joined now by Seton Motley. He's the president of Less Government. Seton, lawmakers have returned to Capitol Hill. How much convincing does the president have to do to get congressional approval for a strike?
Well, he's lucky. He'd have a harder time on Tuesday night convincing the American people. I think there are maybe 20 Republican yes votes, which surpasses understanding. But he's got to get just about every Democrat in the House and a bunch more Republicans. I found it interesting and I think emblematic of his entire administration. Apparently, he's already taped his Tuesday night speech before meeting with a single congressman. It's good to see he's open to new information.
Well, if Syria were to turn in all their chemical weapons, does the president walk away from this situation unscathed?
Yeah, that might be the 11th hour. They said Assad may be saved. And my first thought was Assad. It's Obama that's being saved here. I think that may have been put forward by Putin, and who's been playing Obama like a Stradivarius ever since this began and ever since Obama's administration began. I think that's an out that will actually get them, get Obama out from under his unilaterally self-imposed red line mandate.
Well, even if it doesn't come down to a strike, is this a defining moment for the president?
Yeah, I think it shows that his rhetoric is wearing thin. His influence was always slim. He showed no interest in exerting any influence with other elected officials. And yeah, I think his entire implosion around the world of lack of support for this shows that the reset button he hit was not the correct one. It may have been Control-Alt-Delete.
Well, some have said they want the president to stop seeking congressional approval so that Congress can get to work on other things. Is the Syria situation distracting Washington from domestic issues?
Well, I do think that every day that we discuss Syria is another day his departments, boards, agencies, and commissions continue to unilaterally and illegally ratchet up regulation unnoted and unabated. Additionally, you're right. There's a rally tomorrow to defund Obamacare. I think that took a lot of the emphasis and coverage away from something like that. We've got budgets to deal with. We've got the debt ceiling to deal with. And all of these things have taken a backseat to Obama wanting to bomb Assad and provide al-Qaeda Air Force cover. So, yeah, I think it definitely serves as a distraction. And throwing it to Congress was another huge step in that direction.
One of the so-called whistleblowers in the Benghazi consulate attack says he's being punished for speaking out about the Obama administration's response. Gregory Hicks was the deputy chief of mission in Libya when the attack took place nearly a year ago. He testified before Congress about that night, saying at least 2 of the American lives lost could have been saved if the U.S. had responded in time.
I don't know exactly what was available. I still don't quite understand why they couldn't fly aircraft over to Benghazi. When I was a kid, I grew up watching Western movies, and the cavalry always came. I just thought that they would come.
Wow. Well, now Hicks says the State Department is punishing him for speaking out. He says he has not been reassigned to a post since being called back from Libya. The State Department denies the accusations and says it's working on reassigning him. Nearly 1 month after a wave of attacks against churches in Egypt, Christians in one of the hardest hit areas are still fearing for their lives. Gary Lane has that story.
Egyptian Christians in the governorate of Minya are afraid for their future. That's why they're risking reprisal to tell reporters what happened in last month's violence. Christian activist Adel Shafiq shows what's left of the Virgin Mary Monastery in the town of Dalga. These are the charred sacred bones of monks, destroyed by enraged supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi. This ancient door was vandalized. Nearby churches were also burned.
We still don't have a church to pray at. We are still trying to clean them up. We have 4 churches in the area, and we cannot pray in any of them.
This Anglican church in the Minya village of Malawi was one of more than 130 churches and Christian institutions attacked. Ishak Sadak Shanuda is a church guard. He says Islamic militants overpowered him.
The church was surrounded on all sides, and the people surrounding the church were armed. They couldn't be less than 1,000, totally surrounding the church, carrying weapons.
Christian Janet Wadi describes what happened when the Islamists attacked her home on August 13th. She says they threw petrol bombs at us, which burned our balcony. Neighbors tried to extinguish the fire, she says, but we became frightened and ran away. While the town of Dalga is home to more than 20,000 Christians, it has remained outside government control since Islamists drove police out July 3rd. That's the day Mohamed Morsi was removed from the presidency. Egypt's interim government has named a new police chief and has pledged to send reinforcements to protect the Christians. Still, many Christians in Dalga and elsewhere in southern Egypt live in fear, believing a new wave of attacks against them could happen at any moment. Gary Lane, CBN News.
The Pentagon may recognize same-sex marriages, but Southern Baptist chaplains won't be performing them. After the Defense Department recognized gay marriages, The Southern Baptist Convention told its members they cannot perform gay marriages or take part in counseling sessions and couples retreats for gay couples. The SBC provides the largest share of active duty military chaplains. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is the first from the High Court to perform a gay marriage ceremony, sparking criticism over her impartiality in the matter. But at a recent speaking event, Ginsburg said the legal acceptance of gay marriage reflects equal rights set out in the Constitution.
I see the genius of our Constitution and as our society is how much more embracive we have become.
Ginsburg also spoke out against what she calls a, quote, activist Supreme Court. That's interesting, saying that her colleagues have overturned laws in matters better understood by Congress, such as the Voting Rights Act. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia says he thinks Christian values are necessary for capitalism to succeed. Scalia was asked which was better for Christian values, capitalism or socialism. The Houston Chronicle reports Scalia said he would not argue that one of those systems was more Christian than the other, despite taking his position that capitalism needs the values of Christianity. Coming up, how some in Colombia are taking to the streets to pray for their city.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes now.
I've always seen No-No on TV and I always wondered if it worked. And it's definitely, I can see what everybody talks about now.
It's not a razor. It's not a laser. It's No-No from Radiancy, the #1 hair removal system in the world.
It's absolutely no pain.
Can't believe the difference, how it's almost hair-free.
No-No gives you no hair with no pain.
Well, I saw it on TV and they said it was painless, right? I didn't really believe it, but now that I'm trying it, it feels completely painless.
And now, No-No is better than ever. Introducing the new No-No Pro. It's up to 35% more powerful. Imagine never having to shave again.
I like a close shave. Absolutely. And this is better than that. I mean, it's gone.
No more facial hair. No more embarrassment.
I've always been self-conscious of my hairline, so putting my hair back, this will be perfect for me.
And for that man in your life, there's No-No for him too.
It looks like just like you've got a fresh wax, but like you don't have to go through all the pain.
Call now and we'll send you the cordless No-No Pro in your choice of colors. Featuring an LCD display, it comes with up to 5 treatment levels. Plus, we'll include everything you need to get rid of your unwanted hair. A set of Thermicon tips specially designed for your face and body. A buffer pad to exfoliate and polish your skin. Plus, act now and we'll send you the No-No travel case as a free gift. And get this, you can try No-No risk-free for not 30 days, but 60 days with our triple guarantee. If you are not 100% satisfied, return it and we'll refund the purchase price, refund the shipping, and even pay the return postage. Try No-No risk-free today.
I need to get myself one of these right now.
Absolutely.
For your 60-day trial, go to nonopro.com or call 1-800-233-4861. That's 1-800-233-4861. Call now.
Welcome back. Just 3 months after the Boy Scouts voted to allow gay members, a new faith-based organization has emerged as an alternative. Trail Life USA held its first national convention in Nashville over the weekend. More than 1,000 people attended, including former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. The organization will officially launch next year. The group says Trail Life will be inclusive of boys regardless of religion, race, nationality, or socioeconomic status, and accept boys who are struggling with same-sex attractions or gender confusion. Turning overseas now, when the sun rises in the coastal city of Cartagena, Colombia, most folks are still sound asleep. But a growing number are getting out of bed to walk the streets and pray. And as Heather Sells tells us, these early risers are bringing a spiritual awakening to the city.
In the pre-dawn hours of a Friday morning, hundreds of Colombians walk the streets of this Cartagena neighborhood, praying passionately for their city.
I got up at 3:30 a.m. The Holy Spirit was stirring me, and His presence brought me here seeking Him.
Being an early riser changes your life, intellectually, physically, and in your workplace. Being an early riser is a blessing.
The vision for the early risers came from Esteban Acosta, pastor of the Anointing Church.
What is the outcome of all this? It is causing people to grow spiritually. People who don't have work come with their resumes and they receive employment. It's something amazing what God is doing among these early risers.
I have seen this restore my home, and since then I said I would never miss any early rising, and here I am.
Cartagena's pre-dawn prayer walks began 10 years ago. Walkers come out twice a week and end with a time of worship and celebration.
The people get up as early as 2 a.m. to come and plead for this city. They pray blessing on the government, even on our whole country. This has produced a great revival. The churches are growing.
These early risers are convinced that God will heal their city's problems, including one of the highest levels of child prostitution in Latin America. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Up next, CBN News visits America's poorest city to see how some of the community are trying to restore their town.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride, on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the Spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need, just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions, just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card, just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
New Jersey's poverty rate saw a 52-year high in 2011, the most recent year where data is available. A new report finds nearly 25% of those living in the state were considered poor in 2011, and that was a jump of nearly 1% in just 1 year. And experts are warning that rate could grow when the 2012 numbers are released. High unemployment is a major factor in the poverty level, and the problem isn't just in New Jersey. The Congressional Research Service says in 2011, the federal poverty rate was the highest in 18 years. Chicago is considered the deadliest city in America, but the most violent is Camden, New Jersey. Camden is also the poorest city in the country, but as Ephraim Graham tells us in tonight's Focus Report, some longtime residents are trying to turn their town around.
I've never found Camden to be a bad place.
Tina Scott designs clothes. She began with bridal gowns, then pioneered custom design robes for women preachers. Her garments now ship to Germany, Japan, the Caribbean, and across the United States.
Mind you, I flunked sewing in school. In high school, I had to make a purple pleated skirt and I couldn't do it, and I got a failing grade for sewing.
The seamstress and single mom has spent her life beating the odds. A perfect example came when she chose this neighborhood to start her business.
I don't know if I can describe it to you. I can reach the picture if you want me to show it to you.
Take a look. The old pictures look like they came from a war zone. Her shop, a mere shell of a building with no roof and no other businesses nearby.
It was just looking through the eyes of faith that made me know that this felt like it was what God was leading me to.
Today, Camden's revitalized historic district captures Tina's vision and more, but it's still a work in progress that doesn't stretch far enough.
Once you leave from this area, which is a lot of new buildings and a lot of new construction, and go 2 or 3 streets over, it looks like you're in a totally different place.
We visited those places.
Camden is a small city, really. It's 9 square miles.
With Michael De Leon, the New Jersey filmmaker spent 3 years shooting a documentary about the city.
There's 70,000 that they say people in Camden, and it's just so small. But no matter where you drive around the city, it's just such devastation and poverty and crime and drugs.
Camden sits in the shadow of historic Philadelphia, a thriving city just across the Delaware River. But Camden's reality is not nearly as bright. More than 42% of its population lives below the poverty level, and less than 50% of its students finish high school. At one time, Camden was a thriving factory town, home to Campbell's Soup and RCA. The race riots of 1969 and 71 left the city in ruins, and those who could afford to leave did. That was followed by years of political corruption.
What was troubling me so much about what was happening in Camden and other urban cities in New Jersey is the amount of kids that were dying due to drug overdoses and due to violence and gang violence.
As a former gang member, drug addict, and prisoner, De Leon knows his subject.
I got a member of my family killed, and it didn't stop my drug addiction, it didn't stop my gang involvement. And I was present in a room when one of my friends, a gang member, shot and killed my best friend. And I went to prison for aggravated manslaughter.
After serving 10 years, he chose to dedicate his life to help children make better choices with theirs.
There's nothing wrong with this city that can't be fixed by what's right with this city. And this city is full of people who serve God, who live the life that they're supposed to live, and they influence in a positive way other people.
De Leon introduced us to one of those people. Tawanda Jones turns a city water tower into a dance hall 5 days a week. This is Camden's Sophisticated Sisters Drill Team, a dance troupe Jones started when she was only 15. She was inspired by her grandfather, who bought the team its first round of uniforms and drums 26 years ago.
My grandfather sees the great in everyone. And everyone. And what he just constantly just fed to me that, you know, there's not enough people that care. You have to be one of those people.
Tawanda's girls know she cares from the moment they meet.
I just met Miss Wawa only 4 months ago, and she's like a second mom. She wants so much for me, and I just can't believe how much she wants for me and how much she wants me to succeed in life, and that surprised me, you know? And I'm just so happy. I love her so much. I can't even say it enough.
When they're in that water tower, their whole expression, everything changes. Everything changes. They really leave a lot at the door, and they dance that pain away.
Take Dejanay Green, who lost her father when she was only 3.
He was riding down the street, and a drunk driver hit him, and he was on a motorcycle, and he flipped a mile or 2, I think, and he broke all his bones and died.
Even so, Dejanay is still a daddy's girl, and she thought of him when she performed on ABC's Dancing with the Stars. That's the troupe's latest honor. But Ms. Wawa says the bigger prize is her graduation rate.
We never had a dropout. We have never had a dropout. Why? God. I can't possibly take credit for none of this. You know, it's definitely all God.
Worth the price
others see as Camden, you know, I really can't speak for them, you know, but this is my city and I love it.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Camden, New Jersey.
Up next, a man walks hundreds of miles to save his wife.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
How far would you be willing to go to help someone you love? Well, one South Carolina man was willing to walk as far as he possibly could to save his wife. A year ago, Larry Swilling learned his wife was in kidney failure, and that's when he jumped into action. Larry began a quest to find her a replacement. He strapped on a sign that read, "Need kidney for wife," and began walking.
I knew it was going to happen because I know him. He wouldn't have stopped till he got me one.
Like I tell her, I said, we are one. And we are.
In sickness and in health. Well, Larry walked over 250 miles across South Carolina. Tens of thousands began calling and writing. He was determined to find a match, and after the testing of around 2,000 volunteers, he finally did. A woman from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Doctors say surgery could take place as early as this week, and the couple can now look forward to many more years together. Well, we wish them both the best. That's all for this edition of NewsWatch. Thanks for watching. Good night.